What's good? What's good? Today I felt compelled to make my first reaction video. Let's see if it's something I like. We will be reacting to the BrothersBlue YouTube channel video titled Racism Today! Exclamation point, exclamation point. Okay, let's get this bitch started.
All right. Hello, everyone. This is Cody from the Brothers Blue. And today I felt compelled to make a short explanation.
Hi, Cody. Thank you for keeping it short. I can only handle so much being talked down to in a condescending manner in one day.
For some people who don't seem to understand how racism works and what it really looks like and what it really is in modern day America.
How noble of you to endeavor to enlighten the peasants.
So, starting out, it seems that a lot of people, specifically poor white people,
That was weird the way he said that poor white people thing. Let's watch that again. That was just, it felt disdainful.
okay. So, starting out, it seems that a lot of people, specifically poor white people, seem to be offended when they are shown how they do have privilege in America. It's not that we don't understand the plight of millions and millions of poor white Americans. It's just that we can simultaneously understand that the problems they face are faced by African Americans in disproportionate numbers.
It is exactly that you do not understand the plight of millions and millions of poor white Americans.
When African Americans only make up 12% of the population, but have a 25% chance of ending up in poverty, while white Americans make up 60% of the population and only have a 9% chance of ending up in poverty, it's kind of hard to argue that white privilege isn't real.
Actually, it's not. What you have just done is make an inference based on statistical data. You have not addressed any of the causal factors, the social factors, the experiential factors that contribute to this disparity. You have just identified a disparity and screamed racism. That's all that you have just done, which is ironic because there are some statistics that we can't talk about that are very relevant to this conversation.
It's been some time since the voting bill passed in Georgia, and it seems as though some people don't understand the racial undertones of the bill. So I'd be happy to explain them for you guys. Starting with the ID, the simple fact of the matter is that there are millions of Americans who don't have ID. And as with most things like education,
Hold on. I'm going to need a source for that because it's easy to obtain an ID, especially if you're an underprivileged individual. And it requires an ID to do so many things in our world now. I don't think as many people do not have IDs or access to IDs as you're being led to believe. I believe that is a mainstream narrative talking point. So please provide a source for that claim. And then while we're on the subject with vaccine passports looming, I'm pretty sure it's going to require an ID to get one of those. So your argument is almost nullified.
poverty, healthcare, just to name a few, something that disproportionately affects African American communities is also those who don't have ID. When people say that it seems like a Jim Crow law, I automatically think of the part where you are not allowed to give water to voters waiting in line. This is not to prevent electioneering, it is simply to make voting harder. Not to mention, I think the political resolve of the average American is stronger than what would be needed for someone to change their mind on how they're going to vote because someone gave them a bottle of water while they're waiting in line. Moving on to another hot button issue around race right now that some people don't seem to understand is how the filibuster remains a tool that can be used to push structural racism. With the Senate not being a representation of the nation at large, but rather giving an outsized voice to rural white voters, the filibuster remains the most significant tool available to continue this path of our system lacking actual representation.
So I actually agree with that point. but I don't want to stop at removing the filibuster. We should also remove the Congress and the Senate and all of our corrupt politicians.
When it comes specifically to the racism issue with African Americans, what people need to understand is that whatever problems we have in America with healthcare, education, voting rights, wealth inequality, home ownership, and the list going on and on and on, these problems disproportionately affect African Americans in a negative way. Another recent issue that has been increased is the racial violence towards Asian Americans. And when people call COVID-19 the China virus or Kung flu, they're absolutely engaging in racist behavior.
So, did the virus not originate in China? Like, the geographic location it originated, I think that's a fair name to apply to it. However, I do concede that the Kung flu comment is insensitive, but it's also kind of funny. So I guess I'm racist.
Maybe the worst part is that a lot of people who say these things will say that they are not racist and defend themselves because we called the influenza outbreak of the 1920s the Spanish flu, so they're just doing the same thing. But they're not. They are actively engaging in rhetoric that has shown a direct effect, which we saw with the shooting at the massage parlor in Georgia.
So I did a whole video on that on my channel. Go watch it because I break it down because I'm actually a massage therapist. That was not a race related issue. It was a sexual deviant self hatred related issue. And it was not a massage parlor. It was a sex worker establishment. It is so depressing and disgusting how we have normalized sex work and sex trafficking in this way because everyone knows that Asian massage parlors are not massage parlors. It's like a joke in our in our media, in our normalization, in our culture. It's a joke, and I'm really passionate about this. I'm sorry. Go watch my video.
My brother and I will likely talk more in depth about these issues, and I look forward to it. But I just wanted to get some stuff off my chest. So, guys, please like and subscribe, comment if you care to, and always remember that knowledge is power.
Hey, I like that ending because I agree. Knowledge is power. So I hope you like and subscribe and go continue to watch their content because I know Cody and Kyle are acting with good hearts and they are trying to make the world a better place. And that might be where we can all find some common ground is trying to make the world a better place. Because when I talk about the divide and conquer tactics of our government and our ruling class, this is how it is innocuously perpetuated. People who don't realize that or are not consciously trying to build that divide are doing so. I care about all poor people. And I believe the best way to encourage poor white people to care about poor black people is to tell the poor white people, we also want to help you. I really believe that in a non Marxist way, but in life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness sort of way, class can be the biggest inclusive sort of box we can use to generate unity and cohesion among the population. But we have to get away from identity politics in this sense. And I understand that class is a form of identity. But so I guess I'm being a hypocrite. I don't know. So I guess that's like the soapbox or that's the hill I want to die on is the class warfare because it affects everybody in some capacity. So thank you for listening. Go check out Cody and Kyle, and let's all just continue to try to make the world a better place. Much love.